Today we're talking about a magic card that because of Spiderman, this card spiked 300%. Now, who would have thought that Spider-Man, as a set coming into the world of Magic the Gathering, could cause an old card to spike up in value? Well, that's exactly what happened, and that's why we're talking about it. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here, and thank you again for hanging out for another card spike video. Now, as you guys know, we don't waste a lot of time here. We dive into the cards. We can talk about what's going on in the market space. So let's take a look at our card, and it is going to be Mortuary from Stronghold. Now, you can see here the average price for the card right now is $59.99. Now, what is this card though? What's going on? We have a 1 black, 3 other, and it's an enchantment that says, whenever any creature is put into your graveyard from play, put that creature on top of your library. Very interesting card. Lots of fun stuff. It kind of like is like almost like a free Volroth Stronghold, right? Kind of cool. This thing, as soon as something dies, it goes back on top. Very interesting. Now, what's funny as well, when we start looking at the market, a lot of people are buying copies of this card. It's no little like 1 or 2 here. Nope, there's a lot of people buying copies of this card. It's anywhere you can see here from 15 bucks all the way up to that $40, $50 level, depending on near mint, moderately played, and all the in-betweens it can be. But this is still happening. So why is it happening? What's going on with this card? And what makes it so insanely popular? Well, if we take a closer look, you see Mortuary here. Remember what it says right here. Whenever any creature is put into your graveyard from play, put that creature on top of your library. So what card in Spider-Man is causing this to become such a commotion? Well, it is Gwen Venom, the Remorseless. This, of course, is a 2 black, 3 other, 4/4. It basically acts like Bolas's Citadel. It has Death Touch and Lifelink, and it says, whenever Gwen Venom attacks, until end of turn, you may look at the top card of your library anytime, and you may play cards from the top of your library. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its mana value rather than pay its mana cost. So there you go. You're going to have Gwen Venom attacks. Doesn't have to do damage, just has to attack. Now you've got the Bolas effect going off. Now, of course, the creature going to your graveyard gets to be put back on top. So if you happen to have a Death Cultist, which is a 1 black human wizard that says sacrifice the Death Cultist and target player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. As you can see, this is an infinite trigger. Because what happens is the Death Cultist is going to go to your graveyard because you're going to sack it. You, of course, are going to deal 1 damage, gain 1 life. The Mortuary is going to put it back on top. But Gwen Venom, because she attacked, lets you cast it again, deals 1 damage to you, then it's going to deal, 1 damage to them because you're going to sack it, and basically you're going to kill everybody in your commander pool. This is just, I'm going to win the game. Yes, it's a 3-card combo, but it's not impossible to think this can all go off, and honestly, in my Throw Bowl deck, this makes a lot of sense to put this all in there just as an extra combo in case I want to get busy and just mess somebody up. So when you look at that as a whole and look at where the prices of cards are going, this is a pretty typical combo actually. It's nothing that's like out of the ordinary, okay? So when we compare it to Bolas's Citadel, you can see here that the Citadel here has an average price of $13.48. If we jump over and look at Gwen Venom, her average price is still $16 because she's still, she's new to the game. It's going to take her a while to come down in price, but there's still a good chance that it's going to happen. Now, when we compare these 2 cards, let's forget that there are different advantages and disadvantages. One of them is, of course, a big, huge, honking legendary artifact. One of them is a legendary creature. They have different protections, different ways of getting rid of those cards, which means they're going to have different value points. But the point is, you can put both of them in a commander deck. You can make these things happen more often because they are so similar. And there's also other combinations that work in conjunction with these cards. You can look them up. There's some going with like Sensei's Divining Top and Doomsday and stuff. Crazy stuff going on that players need to be aware of. And there's all kinds of different ways of making it happen. And it's because of this Spider-Man card. Now, this doesn't mean that this is the only amazing card in the set. The value of this card is drastically dropped, making it more affordable. So a person who is building a commander deck can actually build this combo in a pretty reasonable way. That was until Mortuary went through the roof. When that card went off at this price point at 60 bucks, it seems pretty unreasonable to try to buy that card right now. But again, as with most things when we talk about these kind of card spiking values, this card may go up to 500%. But the end of the day, the reality sets in. One deck does not make a card stay afloat. So Mortuary will drift back, back down in price. It's not going to stay at the price point it's at right now. Eventually that card is just going to keep falling down. Yes, it's always going to be higher than it was because it now has a playable way of using it, and it always did. But it's not going to be a $15 card anymore. It's probably going to be $20, $25. It's going to fall into that range. And the more cards they make with the same likeness effects, the more valuable cards like this become. The good news is, it will fall down in price. You just have to wait long enough. This is a card that you can add to your spreadsheet, put a note somewhere in the book of knowledge of things you want to buy, and just wait it out. The supply will come on. This card is not so hard to find that you can't, see it restocking itself. It's going to come back around. And when it does and the price drops, you'll be able to pick up your copy. You just got to be patient. Some players don't have to wait. Some players want to try these combos out right away and get this game playing. Others will be the patient, long game players. I know you guys are. And you'll be able to wait this one out, save the money, and live to fight another day. But that's why we are talking about this card. That combo is not hard to put together. It's a lot of fun to try it out, and I wonder how many times it's going to work. I wonder how frustrating it'll be for other players who have no way of combating it after it gets, after it triggers. It's going to be crazy. Thanks again for hanging out. Thanks for being here with the Moxman today as we talk about this amazing combo. Do you know any other combos you want to talk about? Any other crazy stuff you want to mention? Drop those comments in the comment section. Thanks again for hanging out, and we'll be back tomorrow with another video. The patrons of this channel, the YouTube membership members of this channel, are the reason that daily content is created. So thanks again to each and every one of you for helping out the channel and being true supporters. Guys, it means so much. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Welcome back to the Ramble and the Jamble. Coffee, here we go. First, let's make note that Mortuary is not reserve list. It's an old card, though. And what I like about the old cards like Mortuary, they do something very well. And the casting cost. Nowadays, look at Bolus's Citadel. 3 black, dedicate. You gotta use a heavy black mana supply. Mortuary is 1 black. That thing could fit in all kinds of crazy decks back in the day. That being said, it shouldn't come as a surprise that old cards can do some crazy stuff. The fact that it hasn't been reprinted and hasn't come back around, well, that tells you that, the value is there for people to want to, try to hype it up, flip it. Now, we've seen this, of course, with even reserveless cards, Forsaken Wastes, Squandered Resources. The value of these cards goes up, not enough decks to hold it up there, and goes down. This happens time and time again. Every new combination that's found that uses one of these old cards causes a spike, and it always goes back down. That's the good news about time. Been around long enough to see these things happen so many times, you can kind of predict with a certain level of certainty what's going to happen, how it's going to play out, and the time frame. A 60-day, 90-day, 120-day, a 300-day. You know roughly where to look to see when the card would be expected to fall. Now, Mortuary, I'm going to look this up on the side here again. I had it popped up here earlier. So if you look at this card, we've got no other printings. Okay, there's no changes to it. It's only been in Stronghold. This thing, it's a fun card, don't get me wrong. I'm surprised it hasn't spiked before. But that being said, if Wizards thinks that this card doesn't break a format, they can reprint it and put it out there in some specialty set as a secret layer surprise or in some premium reprint set later on, if the value holds too long. But history tells me it's not going to. It's the first time it's happened. It's the first time we're talking about it. It's the first time it's been really big news. So for that reason, players haven't thought about how much supply is out there in Stronghold, how much is available, and where it's going to come from. Chances are, if the card stays up this high for even a week or two, past the time of this video, a whole bunch of supply comes on the market, suppresses the price, squashes things down because those who want it get it, and it's kind of biting the falling knife. Doesn't mean that scalpers and flippers didn't get in there and get their money. It just means that it's not really a threat. You don't have to have it. You don't have to solve the puzzle today. You can wait. You can be patient. The long-term players are always patient. They'll use some proxy card they write on to say, this is what the card is until I can buy it. They play with friends, do their thing, and then when that price shifts down, they go, oh, right there, man, I can afford this now. Then they go in and buy the card for $25, $30, whatever it's going to cost. It isn't going to drop as low as people would like, because it is a 30-year-old card, but at the same time, it'll probably be more affordable than it is today. Nothing to hold it up in price. Something to keep in mind. And I hate the idea when players dive in and just rush in to buy something without waiting. I've done it myself. I'm not immune to this. I'm not taking the high road saying, I've never. Of course I've done it. Just look at Imperial Seal. But at the same time, more often than not, remember, you want to make as few mistakes as possible to come out ahead in the long game as far as you can. Spread your money as far as you possibly can. People who bought Gwen Venom for $60, $70 now can buy it at 16 bucks. That's amazing. But the more options we have, the more likely it's going to be an expensive card. Because Bolas' Sigil fitting with Gwen Venom, a creature now and an artifact, you give us an enchantment that does the same thing. You give us some other artifact things that do similar effects. Players will start finding ways of totally comboing these things all together, and that can usually shoot up the value of a lot of these cards for the long term, the more decks it's played in. Anyway, thanks again for hanging out. Thanks for being here. We'll talk again soon. Have an awesome day. I'm going to drink that coffee, and I'll probably walk the dog.